The subject of relationships, it's our favorite subject because everything in this co-creative world is about relationships, because you didn't come to go on your own. There's that creating would be very limited, and the basis of everything that you are, as you're hearing your physical experience, is a relationship with that larger non-physical part of you. So relationship is at the basis of everything. But the thing that most miss when they are considering the subject of relationship is that it isn't about what they are about. It's not about what they are, how they are feeling about you. It's about what you are feeling. In other words, it's about the way you are responding to the relationship. There's a tendency, almost everyone does it, to look to others for their constant feedback. So you begin, you don't mean to, you almost can't help it though, until you get a handle on it in a forum like this. You almost all of you let the way others see you mold you into your being. So most people are a reflection of what other people think about them. Well, that is very backwards, because what you want to do is pay attention to what you are flowing. In the early days, we talked quite a bit about people wanted to know about self-love. They wanted to know about loving themselves. And we explained that loving themselves, once we meet up with them in a forum like this, is usually one of the harder things for them to do, because they've been seeing themselves through the eyes of others for a very long time. And in seeing themselves through the eyes of others, they have made great effort to create a perception so that others will feel kindly about them, so others will consider them in a positive way, because most of the way that most people feel about themselves is because of the feedback that they're getting from other people. So they set out on an impossible task, because first of all, there are too many of them, and next, they are all wanting something different. And so you find yourself jumping through all kinds of hoops and standing on your head in all kinds of different ways in order to elicit positive feedback from them, when all along, that wasn't what you were really looking for. We say you're looking for love in all the wrong places. In other words, you're not going to find it there. You're not going to find anything very consistent there. So then there are those like your son who know that from their broader non-physical perspective. They understand the perils and the impossibleness of trying to get other people to like you. And they also understand that most people are giving up their own guidance. They're not reaching for their alignment with source. They're reaching for their alignment with this one and this one and this one. They're looking for an elusive, fickle kind of alignment, you see.
Alignment with beer.
So some of them come into physical experience with a very clear intention that they are not going to be conformists. They're not going to play in that game. They're not going to play that game. And some of them find it in a way that works out well for them. Some of them have a sort of awkward encounter with it. Your son is doing some of that. But the most important thing that we want to say about all of this is, if you want to be happy, your happiness depends upon the thoughts you think about your son and others, not the thoughts they think about you. Because you cannot control what they think about you. It's not your job to even understand their perspective. When you try to get inside what they're living and you try to relate, all that happens is that you just add more conflict to your own vibration. And so the way to soothe yourself relative to a relationship is to care about how you feel. And the way to soothe them within your relationship is to care about how you feel. Now think about that. Think about how often that is precisely what your son does. In other words, in fact, he has, you have too, been accused of selfishness. In other words, part of the reason that you are so condemned is because of the perception of abandonment that you are about in your quest for freedom, you see. But you've got to stand strong in the understanding that You were always doing the best that you could do any step along the way. And just not let someone else convince you that there's something inappropriate about any behavior that you've offered, because nobody has offered the perfect behavior as seen through the eyes of everyone else who is physically focused. But everyone has been offering perfect behavior in the eyes of Source, you see. That's what you got to get back to. And when you get back to it, then you might have a possibility of leading your son into that alignment, because that certainly is what he's reaching for, scrambling for. The void that he feels is about his continual condemnation and blame, mostly of you, but of a lot of things, which is separating him from Source, who does not feel that way. And the thing about that cycle is that once you find someone that you use as your object of attention, and you use them as your reason that things are not working out well for you, then the cycle just perpetuates itself. Things just don't get better, they get worse, and the blame gets stronger.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel that. And then what came to me is about like 3 weeks ago, the garbage truck was coming by, and it woke me up. And I said, oh, the garbage truck is here. I thought I was 5 years old, so I thought I'd go out and take a look at the garbage truck. And there's a guy doing the garbage thing, and like I look at him, and I like felt so much love for the garbage guy one Tuesday morning. And I got, that's easy. And it was like, this is not happening. It's been at least 4 years with my son. There's nothing tangible. So do I just focus on, like, that's it? That's what I have. I have love.
Well, you see,
feel
the difference between focusing and finding a reason to feel love, and then trying to force it relative to one particular subject. In other words, don't challenge yourself about it. Esther has been playfully, and she means it playfully, but she's serious about it too. She's been saying, I'm becoming a sort of vibrational snob. And what she means by that is she finds things to focus upon that feel really good when she focuses upon them. And so she's being a little particular about what she focuses upon. It's like, I'm not willing to focus everywhere. I'm only willing to focus where it feels really good. And so then she began making statements such as, it's really easy to find alignment when I'm by myself, because I can think about what I want, and I can do what I want, and I can be where I want to be. And then she began saying, and it's really easy to stay in alignment when I'm interacting with strangers, because there's no vibrational history. There's no belief system that's challenging current desire. You see, your current desire at all times, who you are as this extension of Source energy, is someone who wants, who means, who really must love. That's who you are. That's who you are. But when you're focusing in a world that is behaving according to your belief system in ways that you can't love them for whatever reason that you've decided, now your attention to them splits your energy, and it feels like it's their fault. If you were different, I'd feel better. A truly conditional love. If you were different, I would feel better. So when you finally get a handle on this, and you discover that love is what you want, and we're going to say something that's going to sound harsh, especially to parents. You want love, not love of your children. Now, don't misunderstand. Of course you want to love your children. But if your children have been unlovable, it's about your belief about their relationship with you that is holding you apart from love. You want to be in this place, and you can get there easily, where you will find love for all things. But you've got to start with things that are easier. And someone who's been in a state of constant condemnation of you for 10 or 15 years, or start with something easier, you see. Show yourself, like you did with the impulse, the inspiration to go out, interact with a total stranger, and feel alignment. That inspiration came directly from Source within you, who is saying, start with things that are easier. But the important piece that we're wanting to give you here is that there are those, and often they are the most significant people in your life, who are the hardest ones to love. And the reason is because for quite a long time, you've been practicing this wobble effect. They have been in your view for so long, and by your perspective have been the reason that you haven't felt good for so long, that it's hard for you to let go of that, you see, unless you understand the laws of the universe as we are presenting them here, unless you really get it, that the only relationship that really should matter to anyone is the relationship that you have between you and Source. You've got to make that the first priority. And once you establish that, and you've established it firmly, then you will be able to find unconditional love everywhere. And it's just, we just can't say it to you any more bluntly than this. We must say it to you in this blunt way. If you are having a difficult time finding love for someone, it always means this. It always means this. You're not consistently finding alignment with the Source within you. Because if you are consistently finding alignment with the Source within you, then it's easy for you to flow that love outward, because it's the constant vibrational pattern that you've got going on within you. We enjoy visiting with all of you about this subject, because the subject that keeps most people from being happy in a way that they could is that they have given over, they have exchanged, they have traded out, and it has not been a good trade. They've traded their relationship with the Source within them for the relationship with their son or their spouse or their friends at school or their peer groups or their public or their... And so I care about what you think, so that means I have to figure out what you think of me, which is tricky business in and of itself. It's a constant vigilance. I have to really pay attention. Need polls if I'm political, and I need agents if I'm theatrical. I need to know what you think of me, and I need to put myself in your best light. And it's so tricky because the world is so varied in what they want from anyone, and so you're in this constant state of not pleasing anyone. Because when you're pleasing that one, you're not pleasing that one. And when you're pleasing that one, you're not pleasing that one. Have you noticed that? You just can't be in a place where you're pleasing all of them unless they were all in alignment and weren't looking to you for their pleasure. That'd be a wonderful world, wouldn't it? If everyone was tuned into Source, feeling really good and flowing love toward everyone. But you don't have to wait for anybody else to figure it out in order to live the ease and the love and the joy of all of that. What you want to do is tune into who you really are, and then look outward, and you're going to love them. And even the hard cases will eventually come into alignment for you. And when you consistently love someone who has been known by the world, by everyone he knows to be unlovable, and you're standing there in unconditional love, loving them, truly loving, because you've practiced it and it comes natural to you. Wonderful, influential healings occur. That's really what coming back into alignment is. That really is the reason that you care at all about your power of influence. Not one of you said, I'll be born into this physical experience and I'll figure out how to utilize my power of influence in order to conquer the world, or in order to amass large wealth, or while there's certainly nothing wrong with doing it, but it was not your primary intention. Your primary intention was not to put yourself in a place where they would all love you either. Your primary intention was to put yourself in a place where you would love all of them. What they think of you must be irrelevant, because you cannot control it. What you think of them is everything, and you can control it. And when you do, you will live happily ever after, and you will be an uplifter everywhere you go. Jerry said, every day of his life, Esther loved it. No one will ever be diminished as a result of knowing me. I may leave them where they are, or I may uplift them, but no one will ever be diminished because of their interaction with me. And the way he learned to make sure that that happened was to take care of what he was thinking about them. You see? Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Okay, thank you.
Enough?
Yeah.
Really good.